Welcome back to It's Time Picks. We've got UFC Fight Night 222 on tap. Sergey Pavlovich and Curtis Blaydes. Um, this should be a hell of a fight. It could go either way. We'll get to that when it comes up. Last week's card was I went 50-50. You went just below it. Wasn't very good. There was a lot of odd fights, odd upsets. It was just another weird card. Not much you can really do about that, but that's MMA. So on to this week. We'll get right into it. First fight up, we have Batgirl Dana and Brady Highstand. And I'm sticking with what I had talked to you about during the week. I'm sticking with Dana. I think he comes out with that power, lights him up. I mean, even if Highstand makes it through the first round, I'm not sure that he's going to get enough work in to seal a decision or anything else. So I'm riding with Dana. Yeah, I think this is just a step up too soon for High Stand.
So I told you I was on high stand earlier, and you know how I always do my own little research. He did end up working with some good guys like Cruz, Chiesa, like always, Aljo, Marab. He went to their camp. Um, One thing I also saw from Dana, he was actually working with a lot of wrestlers. He worked with Marco Madsen, who's a good Olympic wrestler. Cejudo, I don't need to go over Cejudo's credentials. Then he was also working with some Mighty Mouse.
Nice.
One thing I'll say about the Na, at least so far in his UFC career, he's first round KO or pretty. I don't want to use the word bust, but pretty much first round KO or bust. That's how all his three wins are by first round KO. Um, Brady, you could say he's 2-0 in the UFC, but I think that split decision over Ricky was he could have went either way. But usually like to go with the younger guy. But I'll say this right now, the Na, I think he has the upside because he's only had one fight where he really got taken down more than once, and now it's against Alatang, where he got taken down three times and barely controlled. Yeah, I'll say this right now. If I'm trying to get to the point real quick, but I'm gonna say this. You saw Brady's chin when Garcia hit him within the first 15 seconds. Everyone's saying, oh shit. My pick changed on this. I'm on Dana. Mainly due to the fact, like, I watched, you look at the guys that he lost to. Yes, he lost to Gutierrez, but ideally, yes, that was I wouldn't say a lucky shot, but Gutierrez is not finishing nobody too much. But I think there's a chance that if Brady doesn't get this takedown quick, and I mean snatch it quick, I think Denal's gonna let those missiles fly. Maybe not the first one. Maybe the first one may rock him. Second one may put his lights out.
I agree. Well, good to see that your pick changed there. Both of us going with Batgirl Dana. All right. Next up, we have a banger of a matchup between Priscilla Cachoeira and Karine Silva. And this one should be super fun and a lot of fireworks. Who are you going with?
So Priscilla, she's been working with some good fighters. I know lately she's been working with the same camp of Kobe Covington, Alan Perez, Danny Chavez. Um, Silva, I really didn't see no one who really noticeable she's been working with. I think she works still in a small camp in Brazil. But I think sooner or later, I think she's gonna have to, move to a bigger camp to fully start developing. But Silva's a mean little Brazilian, man. I was actually looking at some of her stats. She's on a 6 fight finish win streak. Five subs within, yeah, 5 wins out of 5 subs. The one's by KO in round one, but the 5 subs, 4 are by round one, one's in round two. So I'm thinking she might have like a 1.5 type mark range in this fight, potentially. Because she's never won a decision. She's all 100% pure finish. You can't count out Cachoeira. She might be down early. If you don't finish her early, she's going to be there until that final bell. I don't have a full confidence pick on this one. I'm slightly going Silva. But I think because Silva is a freak, she's very strong. Cachoeira takedown defense has improved lately, last couple fights, but I think Silva's explosiveness is if she gets the back, the fight's over. I'll put my bank account. If she gets the back, this fight could be over. Because Silva grabs the neck very quickly. And she's a sneaky play at her price tag, too. So depends on who you all going to play for payups. if she gets it done within the first round and a half or damn near first round, I think she's gonna smash 9,100.
Well, there's a reason her nickname is Killer, and that's because that's what she is. She is a cold-blooded killer, and she is now entering her prime. She has a lot going for her. She has finished all 15 of her wins by finish. The majority of them have come in the first round. Some of them are against good competition, some of them are against weak competition,
Like her
but
debut, but
she has absolutely crushed just about everybody she's come against. And yeah, I don't see Cachoeira unless she catches her. I don't see her getting it. If this fight stays on the feet, it could
possibly to
probably
50-50.
we could see both of them making their shots and having their moments. But if this hits the mat at all, it's Silva all day. So
Yeah.
both of us going with Korean Silva. It's one of my favorite picks on the card. I absolutely love her this week. Next week, and I'm actually going to let you, or next week, next fight, we got Francis Marshall, and William Gomez, and I'm going to let you take this one first as well because you're the one that talked me into this one.
So I'm not gonna lie. So today my pick almost changed.
Ooh.
Almost. Because due to the fact that I rewatched the Gomes fight, yes, he's well rounded, but he needs not to be low volume in this fight because Francis Marshall does come out pretty aggressive early. And one thing I said about Marshall is two things. One, he's hittable at times when he comes forward, which you saw in the Rojo fight. And even his contender series fight, he got hittable. And two, his IQ. Sometimes he wants to wrestle when he needs to strike or strike when he needs to wrestle. If he comes out like he did versus Rojo, I think Gomes could snipe him because he comes in with his hands down, which, oh my God, he might do that, try to change levels. But if Gomes hits him clean, I think Gomes will knock him deep out. And Gomes, for his own right, people think, oh, new debut, newer guy come from France. He's fought some good talent in France. He trains with one of the better guys in France. This is a side where I'm picking one side. I'm gonna see how lineup builds over the other because that's how torn I am on this fight, just rewatching everything. But I'm going with my gut. I'm going Gomes.
Yeah. And like I said, you talked me into this one, and I'm going to roll with it with you. I do like both guys. They're both excellent
Yep.
fighters. And there's no doubt about it. Marshall will be the one pushing the pace in this one. He'll probably have twice the volume if this happens to stay on the feet if he doesn't get knocked out. But yeah, if he attempts to fight this match like he did against Rojo, he will likely see himself put down rather quickly. If he does take this to the mat, Gomez does have good wrestling, but it's not on the level of Marshall.
No.
Marshall's definitely got the better grappling. So this to me it's closer to a 50-50 or 55-45 type of fight.
Mm-hmm.
And, the pricing and odds for this fight are just way
Way
off.
off.
So for me, it was dog or pass. I went with Gomez, and yeah.
But don't be shocked if I said how I said I was almost torn on this fight. That I am tempting. I'm gonna see how builds look. I may look at a line with see what Marshall looks like and have to see how a line looks. I know I can go almost anywhere with Gomes because he's so low salary. But if Francis does what I'm expecting, and maybe him just go absolute takedown city, potentially just chain wrestle, he might break the slate. Might. But he needs to protect his chin because his hands are so low, and you can't do that against a striker like Gomes.
Yep, I agree. So both of us going with William Gomez, and then next up we have Mohammed Usman and Junior Tafa. This I don't like this fight much at all, actually. I'm going to just about completely avoid it. They are 8,000 and 8,200. This is the middle of the pack fight. And a lot of the times we see those fights end up in the optimal. I don't think that happens this week unless Tafa gets a first round knockout. Usman just does not throw enough volume. I think Tafa is going to try to push a volume, but I don't think that he knocks Usman out. So I think we see a low scoring decision in this one. Um, I'm on Tafa just for volume wise, but these guys are heavyweights. We've seen heavyweights get knocked out in many, many different cases. So I mean, knockout at any round at any point is always viable. But I see a decision. I like Tafa to win a decision. I just don't see a high score coming out of it.
So I told you there was one fight that I was like, what the hell about? I don't understand how Tafa got into the UFC. I Yes, he's
Okay.
the brother of Justin Tafa, but dude, I went to go look at his other backgrounds. Yes, he's 4-0 in MMA, fought trash cans. He did kickboxing. He went 4-4. He had one Muay Thai fight and he had one boxing fight where he went both 1-0. But I saw the one MMA fight that he ended up coming back winning because the guy got tired just from laying on him. His takedown defense is terrible. His takedown defense is trash. I'm curious, why is he in the UFC besides his brother? It's not like he's like this big international star like Cyril Gane was, or like Nagano when he first came in. And he's also gonna go back to 205. He mainly does like to fight at 205. And there was videos saying that he's gonna go down to 205. So I say this: if you're going Junior Tafa, you best hope he gets that knockout in round one. I want to say this about Usman. Yes, he's the brother. He's not the wrestler caliber, but if you want to make this fight freaking quick, I'm sorry, you are twice as big, twice as strong. I know the experience, the fights they're ugly, but he's up there in age where it's like, oh, he can always improve this. Look, he's 35, 36 years old. I don't know. He might improve in some areas more, but I don't know how much dramatic of a change he's going to happen at his age. But he is athletic. If I'm him, if I'm his brother, I am saying, hey, first 30 seconds. Yeah, I know you can. Yeah, power. You can catch him. Wrestle the shit out of him and put your weight on him. It can be boring that way. Maybe you can win a decision that tire him out. Maybe a late finish that way. But it wouldn't shock me if this fight is more slower. Because if Tafa doesn't get that round one finish, I think Usman's just gonna hold him. Might be a boring decision, like you said. If it's a decision, I think Usman. If it's a finish, I think it's gonna be Tafa early.
I disagree. You
I
said the
don't think
same
that's
thing.
good,
You
bro.
said the same thing when he fought Zach Pauga that he was going to take him down, and he didn't. He ended up
He
he was getting
tried.
his,
He
he
tried
was
though.
getting his shit kicked in, and then he got like he luckily hit him in the chin. Otherwise, he was going to lose that fight.
Hey, but Paga is more well rounded than Tafa though. Except Tafa is the better pure kickboxer.
Well, yeah,
But
we can say that, but you can imagine who Junior Tough has been training with,
his brother.
and he's definitely a lot faster than Usman. So
I'll say this. I said this. I think he's the better version of his brother. He's more athletic. He's more fragile. But from what I've seen from other fights, takedown defense is not good. So if you're telling me if Usman doesn't go for takedowns, I think Tafa will knock him out within under 1.5. Especially if he lets his hands go. Doesn't be hesitant. Don't be scared. He will knock Usman out. I'm going with the more experienced guy in this fight. I could be wrong, but I don't know why he's even in the UFC at 4-0. I'm not saying the kid's trash, but there's just some fighters I always worry about, like, how the hell you get in the UFC.
4 finishes. That's about it. But yeah, all right. So we are split, correct? You're going with Usman.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're split. I'm going with Tafa. You have Usman. I don't like that fight at all for DFS
I
either.
don't either. No. I'm just saying, like, this is all experience factor.
Next up, we have Kale Rosa and Norma Dumont, and I actually really like this fight. Norma Dumont is just way too low volume, and she loves to clinch and do nothing. And shit drives me nuts. 145 is dying. Carol Rosa could fight at 135. She's gonna be faster. She throws 3 times the volume that Dumont, and she can take her down if she really wants to. She can also put her up against the cage in her own clinch. I think Rosa is going to be better everywhere this fight goes. I think she's going to completely outvolume her, and I think we could see 90 points put up by her again. So I'm all over Rosa.
One thing that wait, I thought this fight was 35.
It's at 145. Dumont only fights at 145.
Yeah, the division's dead. Good lord. Um, One thing I'll give about Dawn, she is a good striker. I wish she had more volume. Um, yeah, most of Dumont's is gonna be a boring, low volume decision. But one thing I watched one fight on, and I watched it twice today because I was off today and I was bored. I watched her fight with Macy Chiasson. One thing that you do against Dumont, you bring the pressure to Dumont, and she absolutely accepts back against the cage. And Chiasson went up 6 for 12 on takedowns. Who Chiasson is not a wrestler by any means. she's well-rounded-ish, but she's more of a long-rangey jab striker. But she went 6 for 12 with over 7 minutes control time.
Yep.
Carol Rosa showed in fights she gets takedowns.
Yep.
She can control you. I think this fight, like I said, I'm more on the Carol Rosa side. Unless Dumont lands a lucky shot, which I don't see.
Ew.
Not at all. Like she has sneaky power, but besides that, I think Rosa is pretty much gonna make this an ugly phone booth type fight. Land dirty boxing, keep it clinched against the cage, get takedowns when she can. And I do see this fight going decision. And honestly, another thing that might not shock me, what if she gets down in position, tires out Dumont because she does slow down, maybe a late finish, break over 90, get close to 100. I think Dumont is a sneaky. I know a lot of other DFS saying this is the fade fight because two females that pretty much can try to hug the entire time. But if anyone's gonna do hugging, it's gonna be Dumont. But Carol Rosa, her volume is insane. But yeah, I almost said Dumont. No, I'm on Carol Rosa.
Yeah, me too. And I just want to point out that 4 of her 5 wins have all been over 100. 111, 109, 108, and 105. Her other win was a 90. So when she wins, she scores really well, and she's 700, 100 technically a dog, and easily one of my favorite plays on this slate. Both of us in agreement going with Carol Rosa. Next up, we have Ronnie Yahya. I don't even know how you say his name. Is that how you say it?
Ronnie Yaha.
Yeah, we'll go with whatever. Ronnie versus Montel Jackson. I'm still not a big fan of this fight. I'm on Jackson. Jackson should win this. I feel like this is one of those trap fights that we've seen the last 3 cards. We've seen these trap fights where like, oh, this person is, a lock and cash, and then boom, they get upset. And this could easily be one of those fights because all Ronnie has to do is snap his neck, and he's really good at it. He's got 21 submission wins. But if this stays on the feet, Jackson should easily win this. Jackson also does have some grappling in his back pocket. I just don't know if it's on the level of Ronnie. But yeah, I'm going with Jackson. Like I said, I feel like this could be easily a trap play, and I'm going to try to avoid it as much as I can. But pick is Jackson.
So I agree. I'm on Montel. I've had people ask me how I see this fight finishing. Last time I saw this over under was like 1.5. I'm playing the over 1.5 in that fight, and it's not even close. It's like, oh, Montel could not. Okay, the last person to knock out Ronnie Yahya was back in 2009, Joseph Benavidez. I guess Montel does have the knockdowns. He has good power, but I just wish he would fight more because the kid's talented. If he fought more, he could probably be in the top 15 with no problem. But yes, I'm on Montel. That price tag scares me because if I'm him, if I'm his corner, hey, I want you to strike. Yes, I know you can wrestle, but I think Yaya's like, okay, bro, I'll pull the Charles Oliveira. You want to take me down? There's a probability I can snatch a neck, I can snatch your arm, I could pull an arm bar out of my ass.
He could put an arm triangle off his back. So I mean, it's
Ronnie Yahya is too dangerous in this fight. And one thing I've noticed, Yahya is also a good little wrestler himself. He's no bum with wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And the two guys that gave Montel the problem in wrestling was 2018 Ricky Simone, where he went 7 for 20, and then Brent Johns in 2020, where he went 8 for 19.
Yep.
So if you want to combine both of those together, of Johns and Simon, they went 15 for 39 with a 38% takedown accuracy. So you can take that as you mean. I'm not saying I'm going Yahya. If you got big cojones in big tournaments, if you want to think, oh, maybe he pulls a sub out his ass somewhere, by all means, I'm not going to tell you no. You just got bigger balls than I do because I'm not doing it. But yeah, Montel's a pick, and if it goes how this thing goes, and Montel does most of his wins are by decision, I might try to fade this fight. I know a lot of people saying, oh, 9,700. Yeah, it's a for sure win. Yeah, I'm like, okay, no. You've seen bigger upsets. If you want to, say, oh, I'll put Montel in cash, okay, do you. Have fun with that. GPP, I'm not touching this fight. Mm-hmm. No. Like, if it burns me somehow, then screw it. But Ronnie hasn't been finished since 2009.
The only way it burns you is if Montel scores a 60-second knockout.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Or unless somehow he defends every submission and gets like 5 to 6 to 7 takedowns, which But I don't necessarily see that part happening, but I see Jackson winning.
I told you at the beginning of the week that I was on yeah, and I went away from it, but so well, both of us going with Montel Jackson. Like I said, I do feel like it's a trap play. Be careful with it. Next up, we have Ricky Glenn and Christos Giagos, and I'll let you take this one first.
I'll say this right now. Giagos is more than likely fighting for his job. He's on 2-fight lose streak. But if you think about this, he's fought some tough guys. He's some tough fights. Pretty much since even his first 2 runs in the UFC. I know he recently lost to what was it, Thiago Moses, choked him. Tazrukian, probably one of the top 8 guys at 155. Almost at 205, good lord. But yeah, 155. One of the most talented guys there. Ricky Glenn, I'm just going back to his other fights. One thing I've noticed, he tends to struggle when it's usually a bigger type of guy bringing forward pressure. What does Cristo Diagos go? He puts his foot on the pedal and brings it to you. And going back to watching some similar fights, even though he had a draw Grant Dawson went 3 for 11. He fought other guys, which, like Dennis Bermudez. Dude, Bermudez went 6 for 14. Miles Jury, 2 for 3. Evan Dunham in his debut went 3 for 9. And what happens with all those styles? All 4 of those guys come forward and they put their foot on the pedal and they got the takedowns on Ricky Glenn. At first, I thought about maybe fading this fight because I thought maybe at one point, maybe Ricky Glenn maybe with a late finish potentially. But just watching, Giagos doesn't back down. He didn't back down from Moses at all until he got caught in the sub. He didn't back down from Tsarukian until Tsarukian caught him. In all the rest of his other fights, he didn't back down. I'm gonna go with 7,200 Christos Giagos. I think there is a chance in the world. For one, he's the better wrestler. 2, he's the better grappler. What does Ricky Glenn really only have? Better striking and decent 1-2s. But I think Giagos can take him down. I think he can control him and maybe even potentially time out, get a sub. He trains with some good fighters. I know he trained with Jason Jackson out in Florida, Andrew Lusa, who's in the UFC, Elvin Elder, who's I think still in the UFC. But I think Giagos, fights for his job and he gets back on the win column.
Well, I told you at the beginning of the week that I was on Giagos. I did change that one as well. It's not a fight that I really care for much. I don't feel strongly towards either guy. I was on Giagos because of his wrestling, and I went away from it just because Glenn also has some wrestling in his back pocket. He's also going to be the better striker. But I would not be surprised in the slightest if Giagos wins this fight. I'm not a fan of Ricky Glenn at all. But he is a veteran of the sport. He's got a decent fight IQ. So, and he is pretty tough. So, I mean, it's definitely a tough fight. I could see a split decision coming in this fight. And it's just, with the way the judges have been ruling shit lately, you have no
It's
idea.
been terrible.
I mean, these judges have just been absolutely horrendous. But that's another fight we are going to be split on. I'm going to go with Ricky Glenn. You got Christos Giagos. Next up, I know we're both in agreement on this fight. We got Jeremiah Wells and Matthew Semmelsberger. Don't really need to talk much about this one. We both absolutely love Wells. He has a completely well-rounded game. He's a solid wrestler. He's got good grappling. He's going to have more power in this fight. The only downfall he could have potentially would be Semmelsberger outstriking him. Volume wise, and nobody scores a knockout. But I actually think Wells does really well in this fight. I think he traps him, takes him down, and then just annihilates him. So I'm on Wells. I know you're on Wells, but let's hear what you got to say.
No, man.
You're on Semmelsberger?
Hell no. You don't know my boy's Wells. Come on, man. You know I'm on my boy Jeremiah. He's a Jersey boy, PA boy.
I know.
But volume being biased, I know. First, I saw him working with Joe Pfeiffer, my boy Sabatini, Sean Brady. And one thing I noticed, at least with his UFC record, it's just small records, 3-0, but all his wins are within the first 2 rounds. Yeah, I think Semmelsberger, he's going to have volume in this fight, but all he really needs is one clean shot to that chin. And he hasn't been knocked, and Semmelsberger hasn't been knocked out in the UFC, but going back, looking at his record, he's been knocked out in 2018 against a lower tier bum. He's been finished by sub in 2017. And then, amateur doesn't hold nothing against, your main overall pro record, but he actually got knocked out in the amateur scene versus Will Knight. And that's when Will Knight was, I think, 85. And Semmelsberger was fighting 85. I think he called him. So, you know, similar type body frames. Wells is a big jacked up guy, but everyone thinks, oh, knockout, knockout. He is dangerous in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. That's
Mm-hmm.
mainly his bread and butter. He is a dangerous black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
I said I think he traps him and takes him down.
I think he's going to set up that power hand. And if Semmelsberger tries to come forward, Jeremiah might actually get a blast double. If he gets a hold of, if he gets his limbs on Semmelsberger, I don't see him moving. In an 8,400, I love that price.
I agree.
He could either get a finish in this fight, or the way he fights, let's say he gets power, knockdowns, or even just takedown and controls. I think he should still be able to pay off 84, even let's say with a decision. But I don't see this fight going decision.
I don't
Either
either.
way, I think if you're on the Semmelsberger side, okay, yes, he has the volume. Jeremiah does tend to wind up with his main hand. Could Semmelsberger come in and overwhelm him, get his combinations going? Absolutely. Semmelsberger's no joke. There's times where I can't pick a Semmelsberger fight right. Like I had Jake Matthews, his last fight, and Semmelsberger absolutely dogged him. And that hurt me to say because I like Jake Matthews. But let's see if my boy Wells can back me up on this one because there's times where I can't get a Semmelsberger fight right.
Yeah, nope. I agree. Semmelsberger does have some power. He does have a really nice straight. So I definitely could see some fireworks in this one. Both of us going with Jeremiah Wells. Next up, we have Yasmin Lucindo and Brogan Walker. And I hope you changed your pick, man. I'm gonna let you take this,
You
but
go
I hope.
first.
Okay, I'm on Lucindo. I went back and watched as much as I could on both of them. Brogan Walker's not a good fighter. She's terrible. She has horrible training. She's got a horrible corner. She got smoked in her debut. Lucindo at least has a good training team. Her debut didn't go the way she wanted to, but she was also fighting an undefeated fighter and a really good striker. I think Lucindo comes out and completely just beats the shit out of Brogan Walker.
Yeah, my picks definitely changed. The only thing like I'll say is like I don't. Yeah, she's going down to 115. Maybe she'll be the stronger fighter. She's the vet, ideally for overall. But I'm just wondering what happened because she did have one good win against Miranda Maverick. But I couldn't find really
That
no
was a
good
while
take.
ago, though.
Yeah, that was a while ago, but I don't know if she shows up like she did her last fight. But I know people are saying, oh, she'll still battling that one knee injury that she had in Tough. But who knows about that? Now she's in a new weight. First, I want to see if she can make weight. Because ideally, I thought she was still a decent size frame for a 25er. Now she's going down to 115. So I'm going to say Lucindo, but without Lucindo getting a finish, I think this fight scores like shit. It's pretty much not the best fighters. Like, yes, Lucindo can definitely grow and develop more. She's more of the better finisher, but it wouldn't shock me if this fight doesn't score well.
I think Brogan Walker gets knocked out.
Round one.
Probably round two. I think she tires her out in round one with a lot of pressure. And then I think in round two, she comes out and just puts her down and ground and pound. And I think she ends up scoring 95 plus, which
Speaking of Logan
she
Walker,
needs at a price. So
wait till you hear this interview. I know she has a black belt, right? She has a black belt. She came out and said, well, yeah, I got this black belt. I got some wrestling on me, but I'm a striker. I'm like,
no, you're not.
yes, you don't. One thing I'll say about it, she doesn't have the worst kicks because she's more of a taller fighter, so her kicks ain't bad. But where the hell are you a striker? I actually take a lot of time in my striking. I'm like, you didn't show your first fight.
Definitely not. And Lucindo has 8 knockouts to her name. So be my guest. Strike with her. You,
Have fun
you'll
with that.
you'll look dumb and then you'll be out. Plus, Lucindo is only 21.
Yeah, she's a baby.
So I am actually really looking forward to her UFC career. I think they gave her a
Winnable.
bit of a setup after giving her Yao or however you say her name in that first fight, because damn, that was a tough one. I think she comes out and just obliterates Walker.
And one of Lucindo's main training partners is Vernon Jadaroba.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us going with Yasmin Lucindo. That's another big pick that I'm really, really high on.
Yeah, I'd rather
This,
pay for Lucindo over Montel.
oh, absolutely,
And
absolutely,
people were like, "What? Another female?" I'm like, "Look, two
dude. I
reasons.
love the
Montel,
female
look,
fights on this card.
here's the thing though. One, people are gonna say, "Oh, why don't you go Montel?" I'm like, one, you're getting $200 off the price tag. Two, you're gonna get leverage out the ass on this fight because a lot of people say, "Oh, higher paid female fights." No, they don't. I'm like, okay, that's
Here,
fine. If
I'm gonna give you a hot take early. I bet you at least two of these three female fights end up in the optimal,
okay, I think if Lucindo does what she does, I think that could be one.
and then Rosa and Silva.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know. I did have a line with Lucindo and Silva.
Be a good one. But next up, we got Bobby Green and Jared Flash Gordon, and you are going to take this one first.
I'm not gonna lie, as an entertainment thing, I love watching Bobby Green. He acts like he's just this Roy Jones low guard boxer, just tries to joke around. But, he has good volume, and a lot of people don't think, oh, Bobby Green just a striker. No, he can also wrestle when he needs to. He also had collegiate time in wrestling. Jared Gordon, good wrestler, good forward pace, decent boxing, but nothing to about. Um, the only thing is, I'll say is like I don't like how he goes up and down in weight too much. I want him to find like a maintain weight class because at times he's undersized. This fight he's gonna be a tad bit undersized. And I hate to say this, I actually rewatched that fight with Gordon and Patty. I watched it 3 times. I gave the fight twice to Gordon.
Gordon won
And
that.
the first time I was like, no, Patty won. Nah. And then my cousin's like, no, rewatch that fight again. I rewatched it twice. I was like, damn, Gordon won.
Yeah.
But Gordon, Gordon's really gonna have to get the wrestling going, but I think that's gonna be hard because Bobby Green is very hit and move type of style. And if Gordon doesn't get taken down, I think Bobby Green is gonna piece him up for a 3-round decision. But I'll tell you right now, just by your face, and I'm not mad about it. If you're going Gordon, which I'm not mad, if he gets a hold of Green, I think there is a chance he could take Green down, pretty much win this fight by decision. So I actually was trying to move, salary around for this fight a little bit. My pick could be Green. More than likely, it's going to be Green. I'll lock it down, say Green. But I would not be mad. It was like one of these other fights that we had for that international China card. I picked one guy, but I picked the other guy in my line. This is where it wouldn't shock me if I'm like, I don't know. I like other pay ups besides Bobby Green. I don't really get into Bobby Green on pay ups at 9,400. So to me, there's a dog and pass for DFS, but I'll say I'm slightly on Green, and I don't know how much time he actually has left because he's talking about, oh, I want to make my money and I want to go. Gordon, I want him to find a proper weight class, and if he gets takedown going, he'll win a decision. But to me, it's Gordon or past DFS. And action.
I'm on
Yep.
board.
I don't hate it. I really
I
don't like.
wasn't. I know I wasn't at the beginning of the week. This is also another one I switched, and I switched it while I was on Wednesday when I was writing up all my stuff. And a lot of it came down to Gordon has shown extreme toughness lately. Um, when he beat Selecki, he did lose to
Yep.
Dawson, but he actually fought really well against him. He beat Santos, and then technically, well, I guess not technically, but he beat Patty Pimblett. And he took him down 3 times in that fight. He controlled that whole fight. And I expect a lot of the same thing here. So Gordon also throws a ton of volume. Both him and Green throw over 5 strikes a minute, significant. And I think we could see both of them exceed that. I think Gordon will be successful with takedowns. And a big reason that I went away from Green is because he hasn't, aside from losing to Drew Dober and Makachev, which I mean, those are relatively, cool. He lost. Um, two other fights, Faisiv and Moises. But his two wins that were sandwiched in there were Alaquinta, and he came back from nothing and looked
Yeah,
completely
Alicante was selling homes.
just horrible. And then he beat Nazareth Haqparast, who's also nothing.
I think
Before losing to Moises, he beat Alan Patrick, he beat Lando Venata, and he beat Clay Guida. He's not beating anybody. I'm sorry, but he has not beaten anybody.
no.
So Green's talking all this shit and wanting all this money, but he hasn't beaten anybody. And then they
Did you
gave
see
him
the interview?
no, but they gave him two high profile fights and he lost both of them. He got knocked out in both of them. Gordon has power. Gordon is
In
going
the
to knock him out
interview,
in this fight.
I'll sum it up. I'm not going to take this part too long. In the interview, I didn't watch the full thing, but Bobby Green brought 60K with him. He held it in his hand like boom. He's like, "Oh, how much money is that? Oh, that's 60K." He's like, "Why?" Because that's what I want when I win this fight. I'm like,
Right. Gordon is going to win this fight. Green
I
is
don't
going
hate
to
it. Like I said, it is a Gordon or pass for me for this fight because I like way other better options. And to me, he might be a dog that might be swept under the carpet, and
I
people are going,
hope so.
"Oh, huh?"
I'm glad there's only like 50 people that watch this because that's only 50 people that'll be on Gordon
Like I
because of
said, this will be a fight where I'll take the pick being wrong because if Gordon smashes, he might have what, maybe like under 15% ownership, if that, maybe,
probably because there's
especially
other
on this type of
people.
card.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I think Gordon finishes Green, whether it be submission or knockout. I think he finishes him. So
Well, Gordon's only has one actual finish in the UFC by KO, but majority are by sub. So
I know, but Green likes to talk shit. Gordon likes to just let it
fight.
sit and then brings it to the fight. So we're split on that one. I'm going with Jared Gordon. You got Bobby Green. Next up, we have Brad Tavares and Bruno Silva. This fight can go one of two ways.
Yep.
Uh, this is a tough one because Tavares is. Oh, you can X Tavares out of every lineup, anything, every pool, just take him out because when he wins, he doesn't score worth a damn, and he's super expensive for it. That said, I think both of us agree Bruno Silva, dog or pass, he has the ability to knock him out in this, and that 7,300 he would crush value. Um, I'm going with Bruno Silva. I like his volume. Tavares can be difficult to hit, but Silva likes to push a good forward pace. And as long as he can avoid that jab down the middle over and over, and maybe a kick to the rib every so often, I think he wins this fight.
Okay. So the only thing I'll say is, if you do somehow believe Tavares will win, don't do it on DraftKings for the love of God. Don't do it. If you're gonna bet him, do it by decision, and you can get plus money for a decision prop. That's the only thing I would recommend you ever touching for any type of sort of Brad Tavares. And now we're talking back to the DFS side. It is Bruno Silva or pass. I'm picking Bruno. And I'll say this right now. People are saying, "Oh, Tavares is tough." I'm sorry. I know Tavares is tough. Don't get me wrong, but age is catching up to him. He's getting slightly more hittable.
It's
And if
36.
people want to talk about, he has a good little record in the UFC. He's 14-7. Okay, that's all good and well. 3 of those 7 losses are by knockout, and he recently had a knockout loss against Shabazian in round 1. Which, yes, Shabazian is a striker, but I'm sorry, he's not the striker of Bruno Silva. He's not. Bruno is insanely powerful. I'm not gonna say he's more well. I'll say he's slightly more rounded by Shabazian. Shabazian likes to hold. At least lately we've seen Bruno, attempt takedowns. I don't think he has much of a submission game too much, but he'll try to maybe just try to ground and pound. I'm gonna be on Silva. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna move my line around. If I gotta think like, okay, if I'm playing Silva, pray to God within the first 3 rounds. If he goes to decision, I think this fight's a bust. Because I think Tavares is gonna try to keep it competitive. He's gonna hold for time of possession. This fight's gonna absolute shit the bed. But it is going to be a Bruno Silva or pass for me. Either way, my pick is Bruno.
All right, both of us
He's
going
gonna
with
probably be one of the
Toronto.
more expensive dogs too. By the way, he's gonna be like one of his higher owned dogs. So people are gonna look at that saying, "Oh, Tavares sucks." He doesn't suck by any means, but oh, he sucks. He's too high priced, dog or pass, which we do agree on. But I'm gonna see other leverage spots for the dogs. Who I know I have plenty, you have plenty. So we're gonna look around for that, and if I can get a leverage spot, I'll be perfectly fine with that.
Definitely, definitely. Both of us going with Bruno Silva. Next up, I know we are split on this one,
Yep.
and we, but there's a path to winning in both of these. You got Sergey Pavlovich and Curtis Blades, and I'll let you take this one first. Get your boy out there.
Yeah, I have if anybody that doesn't know, I do have a soft spot for Curtis Blades. Um, he pretty much helped me win, no, tie my 1 3-way takedown. And Blades, one thing that does scare me about this fight, Blades, best wrestler in the division. It's not even close, and no one else topping that. Maybe except for John Jones. But even way, if Blades does win this, I don't see him fighting John because apparently John Jones' last fight might be Stipe from the looks of it. I know I hate it. He wants a title, win one more fight, retires, boo. Um, but I do like the potential of Blades. I just, most of his other 2 losses, he got knocked out twice against Nagano. That sucks. Um, but what scares me is Sergey, when it comes to power, is probably damn near close to Nagano in power. And that's what scares the living fuck out of me because lately, Curtis has been falling in love with his striking first. Yes, he wrestles when he feels like it, but lately in his past wins, he's been wanting to strike. And that scares the living shit out of me. If he doesn't shoot within the first 30 seconds, it would not shock me if Curtis throws one punch and Sergey comes in with 5. And all he needs is 1 out of 5 to land. And unfortunately, Curtis Blades might go face down, ass up. But one thing I didn't like about Sergey, when I'm still questioning, you got taken down by Overeem, which, yes, Overeem's slightly more well rounded. He got well rounded without the years, but it wasn't even like a legit takedown. It was, oh, come here, buddy. I'm going to hug you, and then we're going to go to the ground. And from the looks of it, he looked like a fish on his back, and he rolled up and he accepted it. If Overeem did that with no problem, I know it was a while ago during his UFC debut, I believe. If Curtis gets him down once, I think the fight's over. And especially if Curtis gets in dominant position. I know Curtis doesn't have no submissions. Maybe he's working on them. I don't know, but I'm not expecting it. It would not shock me if he does a similar finish Curtis Blades did at Overeem on Sergey. I think there's a chance. Like I said, this fight does not reach the judges. No chance of a prayer of a hell. You need this fight. Pick your side and cash. No, do not stack in singles. Do not do that shit. Pick your side and roll with it. If you're on Blade for potential break slinging upside, very possible. If you're on Sergey, could it be possible he gets a knockout within the first minute? Absolutely. All he needs is one shot and the fight's over. So I'd definitely say pick your side. This fight could be over within the first under 2.5, I'm guessing. Or unless Blades, drags it out, which who knows? I've never seen Pavlovich outside of round 1 in the UFC. All round 1 finishes. So maybe his cardio is absolute shit. Who knows? But I'm going Blades. I got to back my boy, and I really don't pick against him like that. I can't do it.
Yep, I know.
I have a
So
loyalty factor.
I don't disagree. This fight's going to go one of two ways. Pavlovich is going to come out like he has in the last 5 wins and just knock him out within the first 2 minutes of the fight, potentially the first 60 seconds of the fight. That's where I'm at. I love Pavlovich. I have told you in the last 5 fights that it's going to be that way, and I will continue to stay that course. I absolutely love Pavlovich's speed. I love his power. He is just nuts. And it only takes one shot for him to stun somebody, and it's the second that you're stunned, you're done. It's game over. Now, that said, if Blades is smart, and you got to think that this is their game plan, he goes for the takedown immediately. Fight goes to him. At the same time, we don't know if Pavlovich has been training on, for the ground, specifically for this fight, because we already know, everybody knows Blades is going to want to wrestle. He's going to want to get him in, full. He wants to get him that top mount. He wants to land those elbows. So I got to imagine that Pavlovich is going to be ready for that takedown, that initial one. And if he can avoid that first one, I think it's going to be lights out for Blades.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing I'll say about that, yes, I've seen some of the guys he's worked with. He's worked with Augusto Sakai, decent takedown defense, but nothing crazy. Marcus Dolima, Philippe Lins. Then he fights with another guy out of Bellator, Saeed Soma, another bigger type heavyweight.
Well, we also don't know if there's anything, he's not going to post everything out there. So
no, I just saw it's like the training partners. You can't see that, he's proven work on takedowns, but I got to guess. But here's the thing, though. yes, he's still mainly a strong kickboxer, moves like a damn middleweight, but that's scary as big as he is. Good Christ. But I'm sorry, you can train for, he really hasn't fought no wrestlers. Think about all the strikers he's fought leading up to this fight.
Yep, I know.
And I know they're slightly in your camps. Yeah, we're going to work a little bit of takedown for this, a little bit of takedown for that, just to have, just in case. I'm sorry, a fight like this, I could be really wrong, and Curtis Blaydes could get knocked out within the first 2 minutes, as you said. It takes more than one camp trying to train for the top-notch wrestler in this division.
I don't disagree. But another thing going with Pavlovich, he does have a 4-inch reach advantage. If Blaydes can't get in there, he's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we both agree that you need to have one of these guys pick your side. I'm on Pavlovich. Joey's on Blaydes. It should be one hell of a fight. It is not going to the judges. It will be ended probably within the first 2 rounds, and definitely more than likely in the first. So that sums up this card. Like I said, I've kind of already given you 2 hot takes. One was the ladies, at least 2 of 3 landing on the optimal. The other one with Gordon finishing green. So I'm gonna stick with those. Jared Gordon is my favorite punt. And what do you got for me?
I'm torn on so many. I didn't think that mean you were going to be on some of the high price females. So I think Silva gets done within the first round and a half. I think as soon as this fight gets on the ground, I think she's going to finish Koshera. One thing that always scares me, at least, seems like you can never personally get it right. It seems like we can never get the first fight right. But so I'm be biting my nails if I don't touch that fight. Hopefully the fight gets out of round 1, then I can go. But I love Katrina Silva. If I want to go with my favorite punt that I've been, pretty much saying throughout when I first saw the card, if Gomes keeps it on the feet, I think he can snipe him. But one thing I've seen about Gomes, not even about the whole breakdown again, Francis comes forward and Gomes likes to counter. Francis likes to leave his hands down, and Gomes has sneaky power. So if I'm going off that, I'll say my dog. Honestly, I'm stuck between 2 dogs, but I'll probably say between Silva and then maybe Jeremiah Wells, who I absolutely love in this fight. Yeah, I'll probably say Gomes could get. I don't know if he gets a finish, but maybe he can rack up some control time. Maybe gets his own little takedowns because he showed good body lock takedowns. But I want Gomes to win, but I gotta pick one. At least a dog. I'm between him and Gagos because if Gagos gets takedowns, I think he's going to submit Glenn.
Just pick one.
I'm gonna go Crystal Gagos.
Okay. All right.
He can, especially if Gomes is gonna be more counter. I think Gagos could score well, a lot more than Gomes because Gomes he really didn't score shit his first fight.
All right. Well, Saturday should be a hell of a lot of fun. Next week we've got Song and Simone. Really look forward to that. That was the fight that was taken off this card, and
now it's 5 rounds.
Move to the headliner next week. That should be an extremely good fight. And then in 2 weeks we've got the Sterling Sayudo card, and Burns and Muhammad just got added to that. So
5 rounds.
That card has so much on it to look forward to. So 2 weeks for that one. Until then, these next few fights or next few couple cards are going to be really good. Saturday should be excellent. Blaydes and Pavlovich is going to be a lot of fun. So that wraps up this week. We'll catch you next week. As always, thanks for watching.